Today's video is going to be just kind of a rant, but the topic is going to be getting yourself out of a toxic situation. Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. And those of you that did come back, thank you for your support, as always. I really do appreciate it. You guys really don't know how much I appreciate it. It's really cool, to see my channel growing little by little. So when you're in that situation, it's best to get yourself out of the situation, because reason being is it's not healthy for, you. It's not healthy for the person that, is potentially involved in whatever situation that, is creating the toxicity. Not only are you, enabling that person and affecting that person, you're, enabling yourself, really. That's, to be honest, if you waste so much time playing so many games and, playing around and not trying to get yourself together, you're focusing all that time on that, negativity and that drama and that in the moment, stuff, when you could have been focusing on getting yourself together. It's situations have to be a give and take situations. It has to be a healthy situation for you to be able to thrive and, grow. So, that's all I'm trying to say. Another thing that plays into everything else is that if you allow yourself to play into that, you're sabotaging yourself, because your brain, your brain, it's wired to sabotage. Not necessarily sabotage you, but it's wired to keep you safe. So if you don't go outside of your comfort zone, you're always going to, be living inside of your comfort zone. And your brain is wired to, your brain is wired to protect you. So if it sees that, there's an opportunity, or you have an idea and you want to go for the idea, and your brain is like, no, we don't need to do that. We need to stay exactly where we are. Your brain is wired that way. It's wired to protect you, and that is a form of self-sabotage. So another thing that you should, you can work on in a situation like that would also be your mindset and things like that. I'll get more into that as we get deeper in depth into the movie, but into the video. The first thing that you can resort to, if you're, some people, they say that they want to get out of a situation, but their actions display otherwise, So one thing that you can do right off the bat is, if you see something that you don't like, cut them off. No hesitation, no nothing, no explanation. You don't owe anybody. To be honest, if you're going to cut someone off, you don't owe them an explanation, because obviously they've done something. Obviously they've wronged you, in a way where you feel like you need to cut them off. So if you need to cut somebody off and you feel like it's going to be best for you to cut somebody off, and you feel like it's, the best decision, cut them off. Don't give them an explanation, because sometimes I've noticed within, dealing with people, when you're cutting them off and stuff and you tell them about themselves, they don't want to hear about themselves. Sometimes that can also lead into manipulation, begging and pleading for you not to get rid of them out your life. To avoid all that, cut them off. Don't give them sometimes you don't even have to give them an explanation. You can block their number, never have to see them again. That's just what me personally I would do. That's why I'm giving this advice, for someone else, because someone else could need to hear this advice. There's a lot of people out there that, they need to hear advice, but sometimes it's easier to go and search up the advice than it is to take advice from somebody else, because at the end of the day, you have to do things when you're ready. You can't just let somebody tell you, oh, well, you do this, you do that, you do da 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 da, and then, you can't force somebody to do something, basically, is what I'm trying to say. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You could tell somebody all day long till you're blue in the face, what to do, but at the end of the day, it is that person's decision. They're going to be the ones to pull the trigger on it, because you are the master of your own life. So you have to learn how to pull the trigger sometimes, and sometimes it can be hard. It really can. It really, really can be hard to let go, but sometimes you just got to do it for your sake, for your own well-being, for your own mental health, for your own overall well-being. Because some people, they're just there just to feed off of your aura, just suck you dry. Like, have you ever dealt with somebody and afterwards you just feel drained? That's because you were basically pouring all of your goodness, your kindness, your energy, your everything into this person, and then when they leave, they've taken that. You can't get that back. I'm not saying don't be a nice person. That's not what I'm saying. But, I just thought that I would throw that out there. Another thing is, how can you love someone else when you can't love yourself? If there's not enough love in your heart for yourself, then there is no way that you're ever good. You can find love, but there's no way that you would ever be realistically happy or genuinely happy. That happiness that everybody searches for, that genuineness that everybody searches for, there's no way in heck that you would ever be completely 100% genuinely happy, because you're keeping yourself in a toxic situation. You really are. The only person that can get you out of that situation is yourself. And you have to learn how to be a critical thinker. You have to learn how to get yourself out of the situation, and you have to learn from the situation. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel guilty that you got into a situation. Just learn from it. That's all you can ever do, because you can't go back. You can't change anything. There's so many times I wish I could go back, but for what? There's so much that you could do moving forward, so you don't repeat the same steps that repeat the same thing that you did before. You have that knowledge. You have that knowledge sitting in your head. So why would you go out there and do the same thing again? It wouldn't make any sense, because you would get the same outcome. You know what I mean? So why do it? Okay, for instance, say if they are living in your house, for example, you need to tell them to get out. Play no games. And I've experienced this, not only in that situation are you enabling them, but you're doing harm to yourself. Reason being is because how can I put it? You're wanting someone to live up to an expectation that you've built up in your head. And if that person doesn't, measure up to that expectation, tensions start getting high, especially if if you guys start going through a hard time, whatever the situation is. In all honesty, it's not a good situation to put yourself into. If you're living with somebody, rather than drag on the whole situation and get scars and get hurt and continuously let down and keep depending on this person, you need to just let them go. Seriously, I've learned that it's so much easier to just let somebody go. It's so much easier. You have so much peace. You have so much knowledge that you've learned from the situation that you'll never, ever get yourself back in a situation, but you have to learn how to let go. You've got to learn how to let go. There's this picture that I've seen of this little girl who's got a little tiny teddy bear. I'm sure she probably had that teddy bear for years or whatever. But and then they show an image of God behind her, and he's got this ginormous teddy bear, but the little girl doesn't want to let go of the tiny teddy bear because she doesn't know that he has the teddy bear. So sometimes if you just let go, bigger, better things will come your way, but you got to learn how to let go first. You can't keep holding on to the past. You can't keep holding on to, an image of what used to be. If things are not the way that you would like for them to be, you've got to let go and you've got to move on. You've got to build up an empire for yourself. Seriously. Life is too short. There is no time to waste. You can't just keep going around in cycles. You've got to learn it one way or the other. You just got to learn it one way or the other. Seriously. You can never, ever change somebody that does not want to change. If somebody doesn't want to change, they're not going to change for themselves and they're not going to change for you. They have to be the reason that they make changes in their life. Sometimes it takes something drastic. Sometimes it takes you, okay, say for an example, I don't know, say for example, things aren't working out with you and, I don't know, so-and-so, a friend, or say something's not working out with you and your family, or say something's not working out with you and your boyfriend. If one thing that I've realized is that somebody knows for a fact that they're about to lose the person that they care about or the thing that they care about, all of a sudden it starts to get a little bit more important. So sometimes people have to be right on the edge of losing something for them to actually realize its worth. So you need to pick yourself up and you need to move yourself out of the situation before it gets worse. Because it gets so desensitizing. Things become so normal because it's been that way forever, but you have got to let go. You've got to move on because there is something so big and so great out there for you. Seriously. I'm sure there is so much planned in your life. To be honest, I never thought that coming from so much of a winding past, I never thought that I would be where I am today. Never, ever in a million years. Ever. I always known that I was meant for greatness, but I never thought that I would be going to the places that I'm trying to launch myself to. I never thought in a million years. Ever. But it's all possible because I think it's possible and I know it's possible and I'm going to do it. That's the difference between knowing that you have to do something and actually doing something about the situation. I say another thing a lot. I'm gonna try and stop saying that. But so the last thing is having a healthy mindset overall. I know that things can get hard. I know that it can be unbearable. I know it. I know there's been so many moments where I've just felt so low and so beaten down, and so distressed and feeling like, nothing is ever going to get better, but things get better. They really do. If you just let go, you've got to let go. Having a healthy mindset, that brings me into some recommendations. These books have helped me out of a really, really tough place. They really, over the past, year, I've seen tremendous growth in my life, and over the past, when did I get those books? I've had them for 4 months, 3 months, something like that. And just in that period of time, reading these books, it's changed my mindset so much. So the first one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This one is a really good one. I really like this book. It woke me up to so many different things that I just I had no idea. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it. Seriously. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by Harv Eker. My husband and I are reading this together actually, and it's got some really helpful information, really good facts about resetting your mindset and things like that. So this is a really good book as well. I highly recommend this one as well. So yeah, this one's good. And then this last one, I have not personally read this one, but it's I'm reading those. I'm gonna read this one. My husband has read a great majority of this, and my brother-in-law has read, he's almost done with it actually.
What?
Yeah, he's almost done with it. But yeah, I'm sorry. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. And my husband has really implemented a lot of this into his thought pattern as well. I really need to read this one. I've been working on mindset and stuff like that, but it helps to to read about it. It does help. And another thing that helps is like watching motivational speakers and stuff like that too, because when you're in a low place and you have nothing else to inspire you, go and look up like motivational speakers and stuff like that, because that really helps a lot. It just helps you as long as you stay surrounded with like-minded individuals, you'll be okay. Like it's scary to take the first step because that's what your mind wants you to think, because it wants to protect you, it wants to keep you comfortable. But after you get past that first step, your journey begins. But yeah, so that's that. And you guys have a good rest of your night. Bye, guys.